know the Augustinians before getting involved in this project?
We did, yes. There's a history. My father was a Villanova grad back in 1950, and he would always, from time to time, with some of the Augustinian priests that he kept in contact with, had me come up as a young boy to all the different liturgies and different masses. And of course, after Vatican Council, there was also many different things that were going on at the time. And I remember as a young boy being very influenced by some of these experiences, which kind of moved me into this type of work later. But some of the we would go downtown. Father Ray Jackson, he was inner city, and we have this for a suburban boy to go down inner city and to see this beautiful African choir. I mean, just vibrant, loud, and what great music. You couldn't help but leave so uplifted. And then coming to a student mass here at Villanova, just a different change, but different. And over the years, my father didn't do it purposely, but he just wanted us to have a love and appreciation of the faith, through the process. So it was.
So how did you get involved with this project?
Sure. So I think from a lot of our, we've had been blessed to do and honored to do a lot of unique projects throughout the country. We've done several shrines at the National Basilica in Washington, at the Basilica of the National Shrine, and cathedrals and basilicas. So I think a lot of our work has been known through the years. Father Michael contacted me, as well as the pastor, Father Joe Janito, contacted us and said that they got the permission from the Vatican to exhume the body and transfer the remains of Father Bill Atkinson. So they asked us that we needed something that is worthy and appropriate for the remains. So from our beginning meetings, I wanted to develop something, as I said earlier, that would be fitting, but also that would match not only in architecture and in shape, but also in the materials that are currently here. We didn't want it to make it look like an altar of sacrifice, but more of the sarcophagus that everybody is familiar with, or would be familiar with as a burial area. But we wanted some of the elements, like the columns that are prevalent, especially the pointed arched areas inside the recessed panels, and the rounded arches as well, that are also prevalent throughout. The columns, the marble, are materials that you see throughout the current chapel. The columns, particular, from the time that we first got wind and first started with the designs, we were also involved with a church that was in the Monsignor Bonner area. So it was a feeder school, a feeder church to the Monsignor Bonner High School. And so these particular columns were available for that purpose. And we thought, what a great possibility of having these columns used. Maybe the same school students that Father Bill had influenced and taught, we would put those as the support in the columns for the new sarcophagus. So we incorporated these columns and these pillars and capitals along with the new pieces.
That's so interesting about theater schools, because of course Father Bill taught at Bonner.
Correct.
For so long.
Yeah.
That's wonderful.
And so through the process, and when people knew or found out of our work with that, I got to hear stories from people of Father Bill helped me with this, or I did this, or with Father Bill, and it just started growing with so many different of those types of stories, and I was really amazed to hear that, some of those things. So I said, yeah, this really is something to be of value, and interesting. The columns that are supporting are his what he's done for so many people, as their support as well. So.
Can you tell me about, because I know you said you visit your quarries in Italy.
Yes.
Pretty frequently. Is there anything special about the quarries where this marble came from, or is it just because it sort of matched the rest of the church?
Right. Well, we did source that the marble that they currently had is famous Carrara marble. It's from the Tuscan hills. It's the same marble that Michelangelo loved when he would go to pick out his marble for his statues. And today it's still a vibrant quarry, and it's still marble that is good. White Carrara marble is known because it's hard, it's white, it's beautiful for these. So again, we wanted to get a material that matched the marble that was here for years, and to look seamless, and to look like the other colored marble. Again, there's some of that accent in the altar of sacrifice and some of the other in the sanctuary, and we picked up that color as well as part of to put that in as well. So
what was it like working with the Augustinians during this process?
Oh, they're terrific. They've got a great sense, a good keen eye as well. So they have a good knowledge. What I like is that they do share thoughts and ideas to make sure that they're right on with the overall look and the idea. They're terrific with our input and the thoughts, and from the original drawings, which I've submitted. There was just a couple sketches that we did, and it was just spot on, I think, with the overall design. So it was easy, the bottom line. There were challenges with how it would be fabricated, and in lieu of the body and incorporating that, but even still, that was on the day of the translation, when it was transferred, and it was smooth and without a hitch. So
yeah, it sure was.
Yeah.
I mean, do you build many sarcophagi for
people,
or is it mostly altars and other features in churches?
No, we've done we've done a few actually. Founders of particular churches. We did the one in the Basilica at Diocese of Covington, Kentucky. And that one had actually a likeness of the founding bishop who founded this particular. So I had particulars and just a full-figured person of what he looked like. But this was a little bit, thankfully, a little bit more simpler in that regards. I didn't have to carve a statue of Father Bill. So, no, it's nice to see some of those traditions coming out. The beauty of our faith is the communion of saints, and I think it is something for us to strive towards. I think Father Bill's message and Father Bill's caritas is just a tremendous message for so many, especially of today. We have so many people who struggle and with so many different ailments. It doesn't have to be a quadriplegic, somebody who's just different. And what a great way to gravitate towards, and we need that, for everything, for all of us. So
he speaks to us in a special way.
Sure does.
So I think you've sort of talked about this, but what did it mean to you to play a part in this process, knowing that the piece you created is now holding a servant of God, and maybe someday
I see.
Yeah. In a sarcophagus that you built.
Yeah. It's quite an honor, to say the least. I mean, for us to be accompanied to do such a thing, and when you think about what we do and get involved with, sometimes you have to just stop and realize it's you have to focus on the work at hand, but sometimes you stop and our faith tells me and that it is something so unusual. So for us, we take special attention, special care. All of the details are covered, and some of the thoughts and other thoughts. The Augustinian fathers that I worked with I'm sure they didn't do many, if any at all, sarcophagus in the past. So they kind of lean on our experience and our 60 years or 50 years of doing this work through, for the church. So it's important that we convey that and give them all of that knowledge. But at the end of the day, yes, when you think of who we're touching and who it is, and getting back to kind of our family theme and our family philosophy of helping others, people's spirituality. We're a small little instrument in helping people, and in the hope that one day Father Bill will get there.
So what do you think your main takeaway is from, obviously the process is not done. We've been talking about the signs.
Right.
But what do you think, you'll look back on in 15 years,
yeah.
20 years?
Yeah, well, you'd like to think that if I was a little bit of a help throughout the process, we all in our work and everything we do, and everyone that does their work is an assistant and a help. We've been blessed to be able to do some major national projects, cathedrals, basilicas, national shrines, and now something like this is just something that is more than you can imagine. So, yeah, we love it, and when we're just so grateful to God for being that instrument or that person who could continue to do that work. So,
you are going to make this space very special for a lot of people.
Well, that's nice of you to say.
I'm going to throw that out there. Your work is going to be the person who do an introduction to Father Bill for a lot of people who don't.
I hope so. Yeah. Well, to tell the story, and it's great that this is happening. This is the next chapter in Father Bill's story. So it is, as I said, we all have done so much in our efforts and work. So if I could do a little bit, that's great.
All right. My last question for you is, what's something that you want to tell me, but that I didn't think to ask?
It's a good one. You asked some good questions.
Take your time.
Well, I'm just getting back to being grateful. I'll tell you a story about us and our firm, and I think it has to do with the work that we continue to do. Mom had 4 boys, thought it was impossible to have a girl. So with the power of prayer, she prayed for a girl. So the baby, during her pregnancy, she went to Mass every day and said the novena to the patron saint of impossible, St. Jude. So this is praying, and weeks are going by after her due date. Over 3 weeks late, on our 5th child, my sister was born. And it happens to be on the feast day of St. Jude, October 28th. So my mother named her Jude Thaddeus, after the apostle. 2 years later, my mother and father opened up the St. Jude shop at a time when stores like ours were closing up because of the Latin and the Vatican Council. So they said, let's name it the St. Jude shop. So I use that story from time to time just to say about the power of prayer. My mother always taught us that, and we would pray before we would embark on a new project, or pray and ask or look for that sign, above. So in that spirit, I'd like to think that we keep praying in the hope and the faith that Father Bill will get there as well. And so we, with God, all things are possible. So we keep, and it has been for us and our family, 60 years of serving the church. So.
Well, thank you so much.
Good.